As a kid, I just loved playing cops and robbers. Of course, I wanted to always be the cop, and I had looked at being a police officer. I studied economics, and those two worlds are just so different, you know. And I had to make a choice and decided to focus on the economics and take that path. But that itch of wanting to be a police officer just never went away.
Today, Alexander Brumlich is a professor of economics, associate dean of the School of Business, and director of the King Institute for Regional Economic Studies at King University. Despite the demands of his busy career, he carves out time each week to satisfy his passion for police work by filling an essential role for the all-volunteer auxiliary and reserve programs that provide critical assistance to the Bristol, Tennessee Police Department. Well-trained and equipped with a uniform and gun, he works alongside full-time officers, patrolling city streets, responding to emergency calls, taking witness statements, providing comfort to victims, and whatever else comes his way during his on-duty shift. And remember, he's a volunteer, which means he does it all for free. Citizens Police Academy is exactly what its name implies, and it got its start in 1995 when then-Chief Eddie Wampler welcomed the first community members into a 10-week school for a behind-the-scenes look at the BTPD. His intention was not to make police officers of participants, but rather give them a better understanding of what city police officers encounter on a day-to-day basis. Among the first to sign up was Craig Kistner, a Bristol native who became interested in police work as a youngster when he discovered a series of detective books in his elementary school library.
Yeah, my interest started really early in life and went on in my own professional career that wasn't with the police department, and I like to consider it was successful. And then the opportunity of Citizens Police Academy came up. And with that, I thought, wow, I would love to do that. So I put my name in and was fortunate to be selected, and did that in 1995. That was the very first CPA class, Citizens Police Academy. And at that time, Chief Eddie Wampler was in front of us initially, and so that's been a little bit ago.
Now offered twice yearly, the Citizens Police Academy continues to provide a connection between the public and police and is a required first step for those interested in the auxiliary and reserve programs.
So starting with the auxiliary program, because that's where people start, and it's bigger, it's got about 15. The auxiliary, they're tasked with assisting the police department in a support capacity. So they don't have the full official uniform. They can't take law enforcement action. Instead, though, they help with the community engagement activities.
They provide tremendous value to the Bristol, Tennessee Police Department by assisting with community events that draw large crowds. They may direct traffic at Bristol Motor Speedway events, provide a police presence at the annual Rhythm and Roots Festival, provide crowd control for the ongoing Border Bash or Sounds of Summer music series, or assist with outreach activities like National Night Out or Camp Challenge, sponsored by the police department. Now a retired teacher from Avoca Elementary School, Joanne Johnson and her classroom full of fifth graders became intrigued when BTPD officers began visiting her class as a part of a character-building program. She agreed to help assist with Camp Challenge, then enrolled in the Citizens Police Academy before becoming an auxiliary officer nearly 2 decades ago. In that role, she continues to help with the summer camp each year, a bridge between the Bristol, Tennessee Police Department and some of Bristol's youngest residents.
The camp is very special. There's usually more people trying to get in than we can serve, but we do the very best that we can. Sometimes it's just spending time talking to a kid, helping them with a game. I serve food and do a lot of cleanup, talk to them about the critters in the creek and how to be respectful of nature, that sort of thing. That's my science teacher part coming out. But I do enjoy the interaction with the kids, and that helps me stay totally connected.
She and the other auxiliary officers that serve with her also join full-time officers on patrol from time to time, putting additional manpower on city streets.
It helps police to have an extra set of eyes and ears. I've never been out on a patrol ride that I didn't feel that I helped someone, either a police officer or a community member or a child.
A logical next step for those who enjoy being an auxiliary officer is the Reserve Officer Program.
A reserve, that's like a higher level of commitment. So you need to be an auxiliary for at least 1 year. Most will take 3 years. And then you go through an in-house reserve academy. You have to go through field training. And if you pass all the requirements, then you get sworn in, you get the full uniform, a gun, and you can actually take law enforcement actions. So reserves will also help with the community engagement. We might actually have an auxiliary assigned to us I would say a lot of us like to work on patrol, and we're more than just eyes and ears. We're actually a set of hands. So I like to say we're actually like a backup officer. We are going into that house. We are going into whatever that situation is, as if it. We are expected to do that, right? So if there's a call, we can't say, I'm sorry, that's too dangerous, or that's an active shooter. I'll wait for no. We've got to go in the same way, and we've all made that commitment, and we've all sworn to do that, and we've all of us, all the reserves, because there's only 7 of us, and we're very dedicated, and when we put a lot of hours in patrol, and I can stand by any one of them and say they are running to that call. They are not running away from that call, and so that's and so one thing people will say to me, "Oh, he just does ride-alongs," and I don't always correct them, but it's I feel like they're picked. I think they think that I'm just sitting in a car taking notes when I'm actually going in there and clearing that house or that building, or I've got my gun out and doing something.
With nearly a decade in the auxiliary and reserve programs combined, Brumlick has established a comfortable routine. He typically blocks off Thursdays to complete the administrative tasks he's been assigned as the program's director, everything from scheduling training to completing required reports before he hits the streets.
Officially, the way we're supposed to do it is contact the shift lieutenant, just let him know that we're interested in working, Friday night or whatever, and he'll set that new person up with an officer. Once you've been doing it for a while, you build relationships, and that's what's really neat. When you're in a cruiser, like I like to say, at 1 in the morning or 2 in the morning, there's not a lot going on in the city, and so you make those deep conversations, and you get to know the officers really well. And the police officers have become my honest, personal, best friends in the city. And so now I don't need to go through a lieutenant. I'm talking to them all the time, and so I'll just text them and say, hey, are you free on Thursday? Can I work with you? And they'll say, yeah, come on in.
He also values the relationships he's formed with his fellow volunteers, each of whom brings a unique perspective to the role.
There's so much diversity of thought. There's so many different backgrounds. We've got people in manufacturing that work in a factory. We've got a lot of people in healthcare, a physician. We have a reserve candidate who's finishing up medical school, security guards, law enforcement. I mean, there's just a lot of diversity of thought, and so these people have become my friends, and it's just really awesome to be a part of a group where there's just so many different backgrounds, people that normally wouldn't interact and then become friends.
Just as a police force needs diversity, they need women and people of different cultures and ethnic backgrounds. Auxiliary and reserve needs to be that way. We need that as well. Like I was saying, everyone has strengths and weaknesses, and if you get into auxiliary or reserve, you need to explore areas that you feel like are your strengths. that you would be interested in working. It may not show up, it may not just pop up, but you may, get to know some of the officers or leaders that you could work with and be a great benefit. I also want to let you know that in the 19 years that I've been here, I know that we have had at least 3 or 4 people that did Citizens Police Academy, became an auxiliary, and went right on in to take the test to become a police officer. So it is a stepping stone. It's a great way. If you do that for a year and then you want to take the test, you already have so much good knowledge and education to help support you before you go to the academy.
That was indeed the case for Bristol, Tennessee police officer Storm Rivera.
So when I did CPA, it gave me an inside look of my community, the inner workings of the city and the police department, and how that bridge between community and police get connected. After that, I had signed up to become an auxiliary member. That's the next step after CPA, and the auxiliary unit kind of just aids and helps out and supplements the police force. So once I was hired in 2017, I feel like my experience doing CPA and an auxiliary gave me an inside look at what I would be doing in the job, and I feel like that prepared me as I went to the police academy and went through field training and then became a patrol officer. I had a lot of experience. I knew a lot of the people I was working with, and I knew quite a few people in the community already as well. So I feel that program in general was a great benefit to me going into my career in law enforcement.
After beginning his professional career with the Bristol, Tennessee Police Department as a patrol officer, Officer Rivera transitioned into his current role as school resource officer at Bristol's Anderson Elementary School. He's also a member of the department's drone team and is trained as a hostage negotiator. And remember those 5th graders in Joanne Johnson's class back in the day? The ones who paid close attention when the Bristol, Tennessee police officers visited her classroom? Among the youngsters listening intently was Lee Frederick, now Bristol, Tennessee Police Department Sergeant Lee Frederick, who completed the Citizens Police Academy and fell in love with the profession while serving as an auxiliary officer.
The main thing that really got its nails into me was there was an officer who's since retired from here, Lieutenant Justin Branson. I was riding with him, and we were running emergency traffic with lights and sirens to a fight call. And I just thought, well, this is the most fun thing I've ever done. I can't believe he's getting paid for this. I would like to get paid for this. Well, the thing I liked is you can volunteer to do anything. Once you're an auxiliary, you can sit with dispatch, you can help CID, you can help the janitor, you can do whatever you want to do. I mostly rode on night shift patrol. I got to get my own belt that I actually still wear to this day. It was the one I bought for the auxiliary. I got my own handcuffs. I felt like an officer when I was out with the officers, and I liked it so much I even would take vacation time at UPS during race week, and I'd sit and clean my handcuffs. I'd watch every police movie that I owned, and I would sit and just wait to go out and ride and then help with the race all week. I got to know the officers. I got to see things they looked at. They would show me YouTube videos of all things. They would show me guns they liked. They would make jokes. I would see crashes. I saw DUIs. I observed people that were injured and needed help, and I actually got to have my hands on in doing that with them and assisting them with that. So I think it's just, I was basically an officer in my, in the short time I got to ride with them. So that was my favorite thing about it, is I was getting to try it before I buy it, I guess.
Full-time for more than 12 years now, he serves as a member of the SWAT team and is a field training officer for new recruits, but really found his niche patrolling city streets on the night shift.
I like everything about night shift. My actual entire career has been on night shift so far. Since 2013, I've worked nights. The city looks different. Most of the good people like yourself get out of the way by about 10 or midnight, and then it's just us and typically anybody that's up to no good. Your parents always say anything that happens after midnight isn't good. Well, I found that to be true working at night. On day shift, if I stop cars, if I'm looking for drugs or whatever, sometimes regular people will get stopped. They get offended just because they're stopped. That's just part of it. But on night shift, you don't have to worry about that as much. it seems like there's a lot more domestic violence. There's a lot more drug activity. There's a reason Batman works at night, and that's the same reason I like working at night, I guess.
After becoming one of the city's first graduates of the Citizens Police Academy in 1995, Craig Kistner transitioned into the role of auxiliary officer, then reserve officer when that program began in 1997. It wasn't until 2021, however, when he was hired as a part-time officer, that he received his first paycheck.
I'm what is called a downtown officer. Most of my time is spent on the State Street, Shelby Street, and 5th through 8th Street areas, in primarily the more concentrated area of downtown, answering questions like, where's a good place to eat? Am I parked legally, or how long can I park here? Doing some parking enforcement, assisting full-time officers with that, answering calls that are downtown, and doing what are called ID checks for people who want to check into the Salvation Army and to the Haven of Rest.
His years of volunteer service gave him a clear understanding of a police officer's duties, he said, and gave the city a clear understanding of exactly what they were getting when they hired him.
The advantage of hiring someone from Citizens Police Academy and that has been in the Auxiliary Reserve, that gives the city an opportunity to, I'll use the term, test drive those people. You know, it's not like you're interviewing somebody and you just know about them, or just have the interview process and you've been around them for 2 hours and you've got to make a decision, do I hire this person or not? But with the Citizens Police Academy, if they've been through the Auxiliary Reserve, you've been around them for years and you know, is that the candidate you want? And I'd like to think that gives them a lot more to go by to help make a decision, and, you know, should we hire this person to help protect our city?
In addition to becoming a valuable tool for recruiting dedicated officers, it is estimated that the auxiliary and reserve programs save the city about $100,000 per year by putting volunteers on the streets to assist with the professional police force. And Police Chief Matt Austin said these volunteers also play a critical role in the community outreach initiative that is a key goal of his administration.
There's no way in words that you could say to thank them for the work that they do and the benefit and the help that they do for us. And it's just, I'm amazed by their dedication, their willingness to jump in and help. And it's a true form. If anybody ever wanted to see what does community mean, is to come around and look at some of our reserve and auxiliary, and it's awesome. Because we really do here try to become part of the community. We're not just a police agency policing the community, but we are involved. We are part of the community. We go to the same places. We shop at the same places. We go to church at the same place. We go to the movies at the same place. We do all of those things together, and it's another way that the relationships and things that are built within the community is unmeasurable.
That sense of community, the support they receive from friends and neighbors, makes the job worthwhile, both for those who volunteer and those who have made the Bristol, Tennessee Police Department their career.
Every time I walk out, it's thank you for your service, thank you for your service. So the Tri-Cities, the Bristol, Tennessee is just so supportive of police. And
it's every 2 or 3 times I go through a drive-through, somebody pays for my food. So then I've got to risk paying for the person behind me. I hope it's not a family of 12, but we don't go anywhere where somebody doesn't say thank you.
And while a sincere thank you is always gratifying, the job admittedly comes with ups and downs. Officer Kistner was on the scene in his capacity as a reserve officer when Bristol, Tennessee police officer Mark Vance was killed in the line of duty. It remains the most difficult memory of his career. A bright spot, he said, is fingerprinting children to create identification kits that could someday help locate a lost child. Reserve Officer Brumlick said he feels a calling to serve, allowing him to find a connection between his commitment to King University and his volunteer role with the city of Bristol.
We talk a lot about calling at King, and there's a quote by Frederick Buechner that we like to share, which is the place God calls you to is the place where you're Your deep gladness means the world's deep hunger. And I like to think of it as something like that. You know, it's a place where I love and I've got a lot of passion to, it's a hobby in a way. I mean, it's something that I actually do enjoy. But it's also a place where there's a world's deep hunger, right? There is a need to help to protect and serve the community. And it's, not everyone wants to do that. And so where those two places meet, that's my calling.